In this video lecture series, we are going to deal with the Transfer Property Act 1882. We will be dealing with the Transfer Property Act in details. I will also be providing the notes on this subject which you can take a screenshot and read it afterwards. This video lecture series will also help you to gain more knowledge on this subject as we are going to deal with it in full detail. This video lecture will also be useful to the student who are pursuing a law degree. It will also help you in your various law competitive exam as I am going to provide note on this subject. So let us first start with the history of the Transfer Property Act 1882. History of the Transfer Property Act 1882. Before the Transfer of Property was enacted in 1882, the transfer of immovable properties in India were governed by the principles of English law and equity. In the absence of any specific statutory provisions, the court had to fall back upon English laws of real properties, sometimes forcing the court to decide the dispute according to their own notion of justice and fair play, resulting in confused and conflicting in interpretation of property matters. To remedy this confused and conflict, a law commission was appointed in England to prepare a code of substantive law of transfer of properties in India. A draft bill was prepared by this commission and was sent to India by Secretary of State for India. The bill was introduced in the Legislative Council in 1877. The bill was then referred to a select committee and it was also sent to the local government for their comment. The bill was redrafted on many points and referred to a third law commission. Finally, the bill pertaining to the transfer of property was prepared not less than 7 times before the final bill was passed, and it came into force with effect from 17 February 1882 as the Transfer of Property Act 1882. The final draft of the Transfer of Property Act was prepared by Sir Charles Turner, Sir Raymond West, and Mr. Whiteley Stokes. Now let us come to the objective of the Transfer of Property Act. Basically, there are two objectives of the Transfer of Property Act. Firstly, to bring the rules which regulate transmission of property between living persons into harmony with the rule affecting its devolution upon death, and thus to furnish the complement of the work commenced in framing the law of intestate and testamentary succession. And number two, to complete the code of contract law so far as it relates to immovable property. Now let us come to the scope of the Transfer of Property Act 1882. The scope of the Transfer of Property Act is limited as it does not apply to all the transfer of properties which take place in India. Besides territorial limitation, the other limitations of the Act are as follows. Number 1. The Transfer of Property Act applies to transfer by act of parties only. It does not regulate a transfer by operation of law, that is, a transfer which is necessitated by the order of a court of law, for example, insolvency, court sale, or auction, forfeiture, etc. Number 2. The Act deals with transfer between living persons. Thus, a transmission of property which takes place under a will or through succession is not covered by this Act. Number 3. Section 2 of this Act saves the rule of Mohammedan law insofar as they are inconsistent with any of the provisions contained in Chapter 2. Again, Section 129 of the Act expressly says that nothing in Chapter 7 of the Act relating to gift shall be deemed to affect any rule of Mohammedan law. Thus, the Transfer of Property Act is divided into 8 chapters and it has altogether 137 sections. We will be discussing all the sections in detail in our upcoming videos, so stay tuned. Hope you all have understood the introduction part of the Transfer of Property Act. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any doubt, you can comment me in the comment section. Thank you.